What's my purpose? Like, why are we here? This cannot be it. I was kind of one of those people that I was like, this cannot be it. This is it. I cannot be in this life for just this simplicity of working, making money, doing the same thing.
You can only get triggered by the things that you need to work on, your pain points. Because if we realize the things that trigger us when we move through life, something that would trigger me may not trigger you.
Totally.
So when it does trigger us, it's actually a sign for us to step back and question, why is this triggering me?
But I think as humans, I think you can get 100 beautiful comments about yourself and say, oh, you're so beautiful. And then you get one negative comment, you stick to that one negative, and it kind of can drive you crazy.
I'm so excited. You're finally here.
Finally.
Lisa and I first connected when I got to Miami. A friend was like, you have to meet this woman. You're going to love her. She's also a mom. She's also an entrepreneur.
We connected right away, right?
In 2 seconds.
In 2 seconds. I don't even think we spoke. We were just like instantly
our
friends.
energy is so similar.
Similar.
We really see the beauty in life. We don't harp on the negative 24/7, and we don't sit in victimhood. And that's what one of the many reasons I respect you. But for me, that was an immediate recognition for me.
Yes, for me too. I feel like the same way about you. I feel like our energy just connected right away. And it's so refreshing to talk to someone that's just positive or sees the same thing in life that I see. And I think that's refreshing because you don't find that. It's very rare.
With that said, tell everyone who you are. Who are you and why are you
Who am I?
Who are you?
Okay, so I'm Lisa D. Everyone calls me Lisa D, so I just go by that.
Yeah.
But it's really Lisa DeChico Cahu. I am a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an influencer. I'm all the things. But I started in fashion really young. I went to FIT, so I studied fashion. I worked in the business, which is very rare to find somebody that worked inside, because everyone kind of in this business works on the outside of the business and doesn't really know what it's like really hardcore fashion. But I modeled for 15 years for a lot of designers.
You don't say.
So
you see Lisa's Instagram and she's just this Giselle of a human, and everyone's like, what is going on?
What's going on? So I fit modeled, which is basically a designer's muse. So you're really their first person that puts on the samples. So you're really at the start of every garment. And so I really got to learn how a garment's made, what goes into it, what goes into production, what goes into everything in the design process. So it's really interesting. So I worked for brands like Kate, The Row, Helmut Lang, Theory, all really great brands that we love today. And so I just learned so much. And then one of the brands said, why are you not posting your outfits? You have such good personal style. So then I just started one day, this is what I'm wearing, fit modeling. And it kind of just spiraled into this is what I'm actually wearing on the New York streets to go to work. So I think I've just always had this simplicity about myself. Just, this is what I'm wearing today. Literally I post what I'm wearing. And it's not contrived. And I think that's why it did so well from the jump. And then I got pregnant, had to walk away from modeling career, which is everyone always asks me if I had this moment of regret or if I had this moment where I cried or anything. But I honestly knew what I was.
You're no.
No, I honestly knew that I'm so grateful that I started this other career at the same time. So I was able to do that when I crossed over into being a full-time influencer. So that's what I'm doing now.
What would you say to people who think models are dumb?
I think they're wrong. I think you cannot be dumb, to be honest, in that business or even an influencer. I hear it all the time. You're just posting pretty pictures. I wish it was that easy. I honestly think that people have it really wrong. If you do not have your head on right, if you do not have a confidence, if you do not have your goals set, I think you can get lost really easily. I think in the modeling industry, especially being so young, if I didn't have this foundation and who I am as a person, I feel like I would have gotten lost really easily or taken advantage of. And you have to be smart, honey, to be in business.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. I find that a lot of women who are beautiful, they are often perceived to be stupid or not spiritual or not kind. But there's so many women like you that prove to be otherwise. And I think that it's the perfect example of judging a book by its cover versus judging the content.
And I can go on and on about this, but there were model groups that really judged me harshly because I wasn't doing the same things that they were doing or partying as much. I always just kind of had this really drive about myself. I knew what I wanted at all times. And when you know that young, I think people don't get it. Those that get it, get it. And those that don't, I find that even right now in my life, that people that get it, get it. But if you don't get it, you really find it really annoying, which I can never wrap my brain around. But when I was really young and like in modeling, coming out with a lot of the girls, they were just like, what are you saying? You know, they just didn't understand my spirituality, my positive thinking. It wasn't in trend. Like it wasn't trending at the time that I was, going to see Wayne Dyer and Dr. Wayne Dyer and listening to Tony Robbins and Oprah. And I listened to Oprah when I was in high school. So you have to understand, like at that time, no one was doing that. It was very weird, taboo. What are you saying? You're weird. There was just a lot of judgments, but I have to say, I've never faltered. It didn't change who I am as a person. It actually made me stronger and more resilient to others, to be honest.
When I was younger, I used to read Joe Dispenza. I was the awkward girl that was like overly thin, big Jewish frizzy hair. And I would read Joe Dispenza under books when it was considered so bizarre.
So bizarre.
So bizarre. But what's fascinating is I see spirituality and consciousness as, sure, it can be trendy, but I find that a lot of people are starting to wake up to the fact it's actually age of Aquarius as we speak.
Yes.
This is the age of Aquarius.
Yes.
And people are starting to say, perhaps I'm not religious, but there's gotta be something more.
Exactly.
So this new wave, this trend of spirituality or consciousness, I truly believe that it's not just a trend for a lot. I think that people they want something more.
I think it's something to hold on to, right? So I feel like for me, when I was, like 16, I asked the universe or God, whatever you want to say, what's my purpose? Like, why are we here? This cannot be it. I was kind of one of those people that I was like, this cannot be it. This is it. I cannot be in this life for just this simplicity of working, making money, doing the same thing. And I feel that, when the student's ready, the teacher arrives. And so I feel like that's when I got really invested in, Dr. Wayne Dyer's work and started reading Eckhart Tolle. And I remember reading Eckhart Tolle's New Earth. And that book's really intense and it's very deep. And if you don't get it, I had to read it like 3 times. It's super deep. And I remember telling a girl at the time, I'm so not attached to my ego. And she flipped out on me. Like literally it was one of the most heinous thing that's happened to me. Honestly, it like sticks with me.
It was a test.
Yes. And I walked away from that experience like, I'm not going to change who I am. I know who I am. And obviously something inside of that made her so uncomfortable that she had to attack. And so I realized that if you're not ready for it, people like us kind of can bring it out because it's like a mirror.
It's mirroring.
And I think sometimes people are very uncomfortable with that.
You can only get triggered by the things that you need to work on, your pain points.
Of
because
course.
If we realize the things that trigger us when we move through life, something that would trigger me may not trigger you.
Totally.
So when it does trigger us, it's actually a sign for us to step back and question, why is this triggering me? Versus if she said something along the lines of, I don't like those pants, that wouldn't trigger me. But the other thing she said did.
Totally.
It makes you question.
It makes you question. But I think as humans, I think you can get 100 beautiful comments about yourself and say, oh, you're so beautiful. And then you get one negative comment and you stick to that one negative and it kind of can drive you crazy. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's just a human flaw across the board. But yeah, what you're saying is so true. I think the triggering thing is so real. I think it could be on social media too. I mean,
Real
if you're
life
not
on social for sure.
things
You and
are
I get
triggering.
crazy comments.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Lisa has built a crazy audience around her love for fashion and beauty,
Yes.
and some lifestyle too, I would say.
Yes, lifestyle. I think it's just me. It's it's intertwined. I think you cannot have one without the other.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. Some people definitely choose to show just one thing, but
I've shown it
you
all.
dabble and you show
I've
everything.
shown it all.
When you curate outfits, I think what Lisa's really talented at, I think what you're insanely talented at, is you create these gorgeous capsule wardrobes that are really appropriate for everyday life for the woman who just wants to be polished.
Totally.
She just wants to be polished.
But that's been my style since I've gone to FIT. Literally, that's where I really honed in on this style. I have not really changed my style. I mean, it's
Who's your icon? Who do you get inspiration from?
I know it's so trendy right now and cliche, but it's always been like Carolyn Bessette. I feel like
she's so great. Yeah.
anything. I worked for Kate, and Kate, their aesthetic and their whole thing is about this luxury, but quiet luxury. And it's really about the quality of the products and how you can have these pieces in your closet. I think pieces hold energy. I'm all about energy. And anyone that sits with me, they're like, if you sit with Lisa, you'll hear the word energy like 10 times.
Yeah, I think we said it like a million times when we first met, because it's true.
It is true.
Actually, one of my most viral pieces of content was around how clothing holds energy.
It holds energy.
And it's not woo-woo. Linen, wool, these frequencies that are 5,000 hertz versus aloe, which I love aloe.
Yes.
Can't deny it, but it's plastic.
It's plastic,
It
yeah.
holds about 5 to 20 hertz. So this isn't woo-woo. It actually does hold energy. Not to say, I mean, I don't even know what the hell I'm wearing now.
Yeah.
But not to say I
that's
haven't worn plastic many times, but you do feel differently.
energy.
That's why linen's used in healing facilities. That's why when you're on the beach, you love to wear linen because you feel more free.
But even one step further, the woman that wore it, that's why I love vintage. Think about the woman that's wearing this piece. And what was she doing in this piece? Was she having a date with the love of her life? Was she having a breakup? Was she like, I have chills just thinking about it. So I love that. I love that I can really have pieces in my wardrobe that will last the test of time. And I think that's true timelessness. I think
And to pass to Sebastian's wife.
Exactly. And I think that's where my style comes from. And it's everything that I feel comfortable with. Listen, I'm not afraid. I've never been afraid to push the envelope. I'll wear no pants.
I love when you wear stuff like sure, you'll just wear like some like high briefs with the button. I'm like, yes, rock it.
I will do that until I can't.
Why
okay?
not?
Like, why not? And it's interesting because I think that triggered a lot of women, but in a positive and negative way. Positive, they see the confidence and they're like, I am so inspired by this. I wish to emulate that. And it's aspirational for them.
Aspirational.
Aspirational, no pun intended. Or you have the
I miss you so much.
I know, I miss you too. Or you have the woman that's like, I just like don't understand that.
Mothers
I
shouldn't
can
wear
never
that.
understand that. I can never understand that, but you're not wearing it. And so I love kind of pushing the envelope on a couple things. And I've never been afraid to do that. So I definitely love taking those risks, even though my wardrobe is pretty, it's really basic in a sense of the basics that last, but it's intentional. And I think that that's been my vibe since I can remember.
Was your mom really into fashion?
No, I mean, she liked fashion. She made our clothes. She sewed. So we're Italian.
Yeah.
Everything was made in the home, whether it's food,
That's
clothes,
crazy.
everything.
Even the clothing. Super traditional.
Yeah, she
Beautiful.
was very traditional.
Very cool.
But I will say that my parents, being Italian and being immigrants, they didn't see the value in luxury fashion like I see it. And that's okay. So when I went to FIT, I literally had nothing that anyone else had. I have to say, a lot of the women or girls, I should say, that go, their parents give them a whole wardrobe. And I arrived literally with like a pair of jeans, a t-shirt. I'll never forget this day. Pair of jeans, t-shirt, a belt, nice shoes, and a little bag. And I walked into the class with my energy and everyone was like, you have the best style. And I was not wearing anything that you could say oh my goodness, her style is so good. You know, I was wearing a t-shirt and jeans, but it's just the energy inside the clothes that I think makes outfits so great. You can make a minimal outfit, and that's kind of I think that's my vibe.
Yes,
it's like
for
I
sure.
can make a minimal outfit look so good because of the energy inside the clothes. And some people, you know, they the clothes wear them, and some people wear the clothes. So there's like two different things.
I find that a lot of women that we know, that we run circles with, whether they're entrepreneurs, influencers, speakers, whatever, I find that a lot of them have this in common.
Yes.
They are the ones that came from the families that perhaps didn't have much growing up. They really honored and respected tradition and values, but we all really love beautiful things.
Of course. I'm never going to say.
We love beautiful things.
We love beautiful things.
And we are not
afraid.
We're very open about it.
Oh, yeah. Like, why would you not? I think you have to be honest.
We were just talking about this before we sat down about this, my dating situation.
Literally. And that I really do purchase my wardrobe.
With intention.
Yes. And I'm a purchaser though. Like no one really gave me anything really. Like when I met my husband really young. So we have everything together. So I didn't meet this, you know, man that just treated me to everything. Everything was really purchased by me. And I think as a woman, I've always wanted that. I've always wanted to be someone that has her own money. Yeah. Especially being from a traditional male dominant family household. I was always like, no, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it by myself. So I kind of go even further with that.
Yeah.
And I kind of push the envelope on that a little bit. But that's just who I am. It's always just kind of been who I am.
Speaking of who you are,
yes.
Did you grow up religious, spiritual, both, neither?
Religious. I went to Catholic school. But I feel now in my present, I'm more spiritual than religious. Yeah, I think that nothing against religion. I loved going to Catholic school. I loved and hated it. I feel that it was just really structural in a sense of don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And I feel like it's missing the plot of life. And I feel that when people are so constrained into like, you have to do this, I feel like they rebel. And there was a lot of that in high school. And I saw it.
Yeah.
But I do live by some of the commandments, and especially like treat others the way you want to be treated. Like I just genuinely live by that. Whether that's from being Catholic or spiritual, I don't know. But I definitely live by that. And so, yeah, I'm a spiritual person now having a human experience.
I love that. And it's true. I find that I remember speaking to someone about this because a lot of my friends are religious, spiritual, some spiritual, not religious, whatever. It's so fascinating to me.
It's so fascinating.
Because it's so cool. Everyone really, especially at our age, I feel like they really are honoring who they are.
Yes.
But I found that having spirituality without religion is essentially having the vessel without the foundation.
Yes.
And having religion without spirituality is essentially having the foundation without the vessel. And I find that when people do tap more into their religious beliefs and they make it their own,
exactly,
it's more of a foundation than it is suffocation.
100%. But I also
it's essentially a home foundation.
Exactly, but it's yours.
It's yours.
And I feel I grew up in an all Jewish neighborhood. We were the only Italian Catholics, literally. So I have so much respect for other religions, and I actually take from other religions.
Yeah,
I think
why
it's
not?
nice I wish I could just box my own up and be like, okay, I take a little bit from that.
I do it.
And it's great. And that's
I participated in Ramadan for a week, no alcohol, and then I caved because I was dating a French guy.
You're like, this isn't going to work for my
I am
hot dating life.
participating in Ramadan, 30 days, no alcohol a weekend. I was like, I can't, I'm not doing this anymore.
It's not sustainable, right? Again,
I was like, wait, I want a glass of wine. But there's something really powerful to having that connection regardless, to be able to fast for 30 days.
That's insane. That's discipline at its finest.
Wow, that is, and you know, some people are like, oh, but you're so miserable, you can't think straight, that's the point.
That's the point.
The point is just to have connection to source.
Exactly.
So if we can find the beauty in all of these channels and avenues through other people, we really are just creating more of a channel for ourselves to source whatever that may be.
But I find that people don't want to be that uncomfortable because, again, that's uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
And I would say my advice to anyone, even in just fashion and stuff, I would say that you need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because there's more uncomfortability than there is comfortability. And if you're looking for comfort, then you're seeking it in the wrong place. I said, anytime you learn from failing. You don't learn from, I've just had so much in my life that I've learned from, and I've had loss, and I've had so many things that could have really knocked me down. And I feel like there's this unwavering resilience to just get back up and smile through it. To be honest. So a lot of it's uncomfortable. It's not
sit
easy.
in victimhood, or we move forward. And a lot of women do choose to sit in victimhood because they just can't imagine why something so painful would happen to them.
Or the story. It's kind of that story.
They hold it.
And it's like flip the page, get to the next chapter. And I'm always seeking, what else can I do? And there's no other alternative for me to wake up and say, oh, I miss my brother, or I miss living somewhere, or I miss this. I'm missing out on the present moment. So I try not to really, my focus is never to miss, it's to be present and alive right now, because this is all we have. Like right now with us.
That's why it's called the present. It's the present moment. All these silly
things.
Quotes that when you think about it, it actually has, it holds real weight.
It does.
Most people that follow you for a long time know about your brother's passing.
Yes.
But for those who don't, if you don't mind sharing,
I don't.
How did it happen, and how did you get through it?
Well, I feel like it's a long story, but I'll cut it really short. He took his own life. So it was a January day, really gray out. I remember just like the whole day. And then you get that phone call. It feels like your whole life just falls apart within seconds. It was very unexpected, as that is for a lot of families. And it was tough. I feel like it still is something that I work through like every day of my life. It's a choice that I have to make when I wake up. You can either choose to wallow in the grief, or you can choose to honor his life and live yours. And even just saying that just gives me like
the same.
Like I made that decision really early on to just live the life he can't and live in his honor. And I feel like living is something that I strive for every day. Just like this feeling of, am I alive? Like, am I living to my true potential? Oh my God, don't make me cry. We're here crying. It's a crying moment.
But it's so simple, but it's so true. Am I living?
Am I living? And yeah, I feel it's so interesting because someone asked me this, like, did you go back to work? How was that? I went right back to work. I was a model at the time, and I went into fitting, and I remember standing there, because you have to stand there, and it's very vulnerable because you're, in
being
panties.
Touched and
yes, and you're pretty much like naked, but I could say that. And so it's a vulnerable state. And I remember like just tears like streaming down at me, like wiping my chin and just trying to not get it on the garments. And listen, they felt bad, of course, but not, it's not like it changed anything for them. They were going to replace me. And that's just
we
how
still have a job to do.
You still have a job. The show must go on. And it just kind of teaches you that your life can end and everyone just moves on. Yes, they're sad for a little bit, but they just move on. And I think that taught me to live even harder and faster, because I feel when you're here, yes, you can leave an impact and you can leave this legacy, but ultimately people are going to move on and the attention span is not, so I feel like it taught me a lot about life. Oddly enough, death teaches you a lot about life. But a lot of people are very uncomfortable with that situation too, and grief. And I've shared it so much because I want to be an aspiration for other people that, like, if I can do it, so can you. If I can get up and be happy, even though this happened in my life, if I can strive to, be a mom and be all these things, then you can too. And that's like my intention of sharing it, not for the pity party or the violin or anything like that. I'm really sharing ultimately to just inspire. That's all I always, that's my thing.
This is where I get really frustrated when I hear people say, oh, you're friends with that influencer, like the influencer.
Yes.
I find often when I hear this, I get so defensive and so frustrated, because to influence means that you have power.
Yes.
And to influence means you can influence for the good or the bad.
100%.
And there is nothing wrong with influencing women to take care of themselves, to put themselves together every single morning, to find the energy to spend 10 minutes longer on yourself.
100%.
There's nothing wrong with being an influencer.
I mean, but I really take that and influence. What am I influencing? You know, I do feel like a lot of people take that title and they just kind of whatever with it. And for me, it's really important to what am I? What is the real purpose? Like, what am I doing? Even if it's just to make someone smile, for me, that's an impact. For me, I get these DMs that literally I sob when I read them because I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. I'm like, I'm just showing up as myself,
100%.
which is like actually what you should do. And I think even last night, they're like, your self-confidence really inspires me. And I think that that's such a beautiful thing. And like, you can't put a price tag on that. You can't pay me for, I posted yesterday about like, you can't buy aura. Because you can't. You can't buy energy, you can't buy aura, you can't buy confidence. You know, everyone wants these things, but you can't buy them. You just have to hone in on them.
It's an inner knowing. It's an inner strength.
Yes. And even with the grief, I feel like I've helped a lot of people like come to terms because it is, unfortunately, it is part of life. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it. And for me, I talk about it very freely and easily. And I think it has helped a lot of people, not only be in that place where they're suffering, and I've guided them in the right direction, which is really scary for me because some people have told me really scary things, and I'm not a doctor. I can't help you, but I'm trying to. And then I feel that my brother has saved people. I do believe that in my soul.
I think so too.
Yeah, by sharing his story.
I think so too. And pain really is our greatest teacher. So many people have said to me, how do you, because in real life, I'm kind of nerdy and I get tongue tied. I'm just like, do, 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 do.
Oh,
and then
you're so
on
elegant.
stage, I'm like, psh, and I really feel that it's all the pain that I've experienced. I turned it into teaching, and
100%.
something happens where I just channel. I just channel these words, and half the time I'm like, where the fuck did that come
Liz,
from?
it is your true purpose. Like when I look at you, I think it's like your vessel.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And
this
I feel
is
like
my mission.
And as soon as I met you, I felt like that. As soon as I met you, I really loved that we both had these like traumatic events in our life, but you can either mirror those events or you can do the opposite. And I feel like we both are the epitome of doing the opposite and trying to change it. And I feel like almost, and I know this sounds really weird to some people, I feel like almost those things had to happen to make me even stronger. Like I have resilience like no other. And I will get up and there's not going to be someone that's working harder in the room. There's not going to be someone that's coming with the best energy. Like I know that about myself before I enter any room. And I think if I hadn't gone through these experiences, I don't know if I would be as strong as I am today. I don't.
No, because also there's a spiritual notion that the higher the soul, the more it has to experience and efforts to evolve. Because what's the whole agenda of being on Earth?
Yes,
it's to
but
evolve.
we can experience a little less.
Yeah.
We get it. I got all the lessons. I'm good. Check. Okay, move on. Can we give good stuff now?
I'm like, I need a fucking break.
Totally. We need a break. Like, you know, and I've always known that. My mom used to tell me all the time, like, you know, you're just different. You're just so different and you can handle it. I'm like, yes, but sometimes I can't.
For sure.
Sometimes I would like a little break.
What is, if there's a 19-year-old watching us speak right now and she admires everything from your fashion to motherhood to beauty, give her 3 tips if she's feeling broke, not confident, insecure.
The insecurity thing is such a big thing. And I want to dive really deeply into it because I feel like that is my secret sauce. I feel that everything has taught me, even as a model, like your confidence and your energy is what sets you apart. And no one can take that away. It's like, I have that so locked in. I would say to her that get to know who you are. Really, it's an inside job. I think no one wants to do the work, but you have to. And I think going through experiences teaches you your confidence in being who you are and accepting your flaws and accepting just everything about you and not caring about what other people think is seriously life-changing. Not caring about Dr. Wayne Dyer said something really interesting. It's like if you walk into a room with 50 people, you're going to have 50 reputations. And for me, it's like, what reputation do I want? I want my own. Who am I and what makes me happy? What makes me tick? What makes me unique? Those are the things that I think you have to get really comfortable figuring out about yourself. No one can figure it out for you, unfortunately. So it's kind of doing, unfortunately, because I would love someone to figure that out. But I think that's where it stems from. And it can stem from your family. But for me, I really think it stems from experience and kind of honing in when I was in a room with the most like stunning people. And listen, I wasn't the most, and I knew that at the time. I'm like, okay, but what I have is intangible and something that no one can buy and something that everyone wants. And I knew it was powerful at a very young age because I noticed how people were treating me and how things would just start to happen and how easily they would happen because of my energy and the confidence. And I always felt sad for the people that were so beautiful and lacked confidence because it immediately made you less attractive. Immediately.
Without a doubt.
And I think that's what I would tell her. And at 19, you shouldn't be the most beautiful person, to be honest. I heard this yesterday. It's like you could go through your ugly phases because like your glow up should come later on in life. And I feel like for me, it did.
I had a major glow up. I was the most awkward, skinny, frizzy. No.
But I think girls, especially in their 20s, they think that's their peak. And I'm here to tell you, girls, that was not my peak. And
it's so true.
Why? And I want to aspire people to do that. Like, I don't think it's normal to peak at 25. And then you see, like, even the girls in high school, the really beautiful girls, no offense, and the really popular girls, you don't want that. So stop chasing that and just be comfortable in your own skin. I am so comfortable in my own skin and being who I am. And I have that so locked in. And I think that's so powerful in everything I do. And it can make people really uncomfortable, or it can really drive the magnets like you towards me. And
it also shows in your son, because your son,
he's very confident.
Has this air, like he has this aura. People was like, Jordan's so confident. I look at your son, he's so confident.
He's so confident.
Versus like, shoulders down and scared to talk and scared to do the wrong thing and speak the wrong thing. He's just himself.
Totally.
He's just himself,
It's
but kind. But kind.
Exactly. And that's the hardest part, because I think I get this all the time. Like, who do you think you are? Or like, I could appear overly confident. But for me, it's just, this is who I am, and I'd rather be confident than insecure. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. And hopefully you come to your own confidence soon. But the people that get it, they really do get it.
The problem is so many women are not confident, that the ones that are appear to be arrogant, but they're just really happy with themselves after years of being told that they weren't enough.
Of course. I think that's also an underlying thing that everybody goes through. And I would say that's, if you're feeling not enough, take a number. Everyone feels that way at certain times in your life or on a daily basis, and no one wants to admit it. And I definitely feel like triggers stem from not feeling good enough, not feeling pretty enough, skinny enough. Something's not enough at all times, every day. And you can't people please. I mean, for me, even as a model, I was told, everyone laughs at this.
Being a model, you're told every 5 seconds it's not enough. It's crazy.
But again, that's my external, right? Mm-hmm. Not my internal. Mm-hmm. You couldn't touch that. Mm-hmm. You can never tell me I'm not kind, because I'm kind. You can never tell me I'm not confident, because I am. You can never tell me that I'm not a beautiful human being, because I know I am. You can't tell me those things. But you could tell me everything that you don't like about me. And that really, it's like, doesn't really bother me, because I think someone else sees that as beautiful. So I think, again, I'm not trying to please you. I'm trying to please myself at all times. And I think that's often misunderstood, because I think people don't get that. They're like very confused by that.
We went on a tangent on the tips, because we tend to do that.
We're
did we finish the tips?
Okay, do we finish the tips?
I think there was one more.
I think just being comfortable in your own skin is the hugest tip that I could give a young woman right now.
How do you do that on your own? Is there a practice you do in your morning routine or throughout your day?
Yes.
Do you talk to God? What do you do?
Okay. So I think gratitude significantly, we talked about this within like seconds of meeting each other. And I could tell you're a grateful person just by your energy. But gratitude shifted my entire life, I will say, even through the grief too. I feel like I've always go back to that only because the brain wants to complain. The brain's like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. Whereas gratitude, you can't have both simultaneously. So if you're grateful about being alive, you can't simultaneously complain about your day. Or if you're grateful about how you look, you can't now complain about like something. I think women are seeking perfection way too much. I've never been like that. And I've always kind of honed in on my imperfections and kind of being okay with them. And I think that's what I would say to a young woman. Like, you can fix everything. You can get plastic surgery. You can do everything and all the things. And I'm all for it if that's what you want. But understand that that will never fix the person you are inside. And I think a lot of people that go through those transitions are still insecure because the thing that they are trying to get over is still there. And I think if you lack, security, or if you lack confidence, follow someone that's confident. Come follow.
I love you.
Because I think
It's
the
true.
energy is just
It's
there
true.
and you will feel it. The minute I was saying this to you, it's like, I don't really have to say much. I think the energy is just there because confidence is quiet. The real confident people are not, I'm super confident. I'm super confident. They're just confident. Like you don't have to say much. And I think it's just like wealth. It's very silent. You don't have to loud, proud, even though I think sometimes when I'm doing my walks and I'm doing my thing, it seems loud, but I am proud.
Yeah.
And I am proud of like honing in on that. But I also think not relying on other people to tell you who you are. Oprah said this really a long time ago because I was taking acting classes and I was doing, all these things. And I was always a dancer, actor, like I was doing everything arts. So she always said, have a good support system and people that know who you are, because you're going to want, people are going to tell you who you are on a daily basis, right? So are you going to start believing them? And that's where I think it's the slippery slope, because then celebrities, especially young ones, people start to say who you are, and then you start to believe that instead of you believing yourself.
One of my favorite things to do in a seminar is I pick a woman, I'll scan the energy of the room prior to starting. I can tell who's the most insecure energy-wise. And then when I start workshopping women, I choose her out of the crowd. I say, what's your name? My name is Rachel. I'm from Miami.
Yeah.
I'm 37. I'm like, oh my God, amazing. What do you do? I'm a nurse. I have 2 kids. Why are you a nurse? My father passed and I got really into healthcare. And I just let her kind of go on and on and on. And then I say to her, I stop and I kind of look at her a little confused. And I'm thinking to myself, I say, it's so interesting. I can't even see you being good at that.
It's interesting.
And one of 2 things happens. She either shuts down and says nothing and doesn't say anything back, or what other thing happens is the woman will, it's usually only Middle Easterners that fight me back, and they'll say, who is this woman? I'm actually great at this. But what's fascinating is what ends up happening is typically number 1. And they shut down, they like shrug, and all of a sudden they believe that maybe I'm right, maybe they're not that great at it. And then I make everyone stop. And I said, did everyone just see what happened? Because I'm on a stage, my hair's done, my makeup's on, I have a headset, I'm physically above you. So all of a sudden I have authority.
Yes.
So I'm telling you, I don't really think you're that good at that. But the truth is you were really proud before I came in and told you otherwise. Doesn't this happen in our lives all the time? It's like this light bulb moment.
It is.
That goes on in women's heads like, oh shit, maybe I'm letting people do that all the time.
Exactly. And I think young people especially, it could be a coach, teacher. I always try to tell Sebastian that, it's like, listen to your own mind. If someone says, let's say you say he plays tennis, you're not good at tennis. He's going to show up feeling that he's not good at something. I'm the opposite. If I'm like, you're good at it, because you start to believe it about yourself. So I think being kind of with the blinders on, this is the year of the horse, kind of go forward into your own thoughts, into what do you like? What do you feel like you're good at? What do you feel like you bring to the table? And that's something that I think most women don't think about, especially when dating. What do you bring to the table? You're worried about what the guy's bringing, how much he's bringing, whatever. But to have a fulfilling relationship, I think there's two parts. And you have to also bring what you're bringing to the table, and you are the prize. So it's like, how do you arrive at being the prize? So tell me about that.
Yeah.
And it's often for me not about what you do, it's about who you are. Because again, because I experienced loss, I know that all those titles, they slip away. And that's why I'm never really interested in what people are doing, so to speak, into who they are, why they're doing it is more, I don't know, it's just more inspiring
More of
to
the
me.
oomph.
Yeah.
With that said, there's a thought process in spirituality and Kabbalah that we all come here with a soul correction.
Yes.
There's different ones. I don't know if you've ever dug into this. If you haven't, I'm going to send you a quiz that I actually send coaching clients after because it's really fun. I know mine. Mine was always, and still till this day, I've gotten a lot better at it.
Okay.
But mine was reactivity. We are so confident and women are so inspired by us, but I think that we also have a sense of not having ego.
Yes.
What do you think your soul correction is, and how have you worked on it, and have you fully gone through it, or are you still kind of there?
I think for a long time it was to prove. I think because I was told no so much and rejected, beyond rejected. And I think I was always trying to like chase that proven, like, yes, I did it now. And don't you see it? You know, and especially for my dad, it's like women can't do this or women can't do that. So I think my whole thing was just trying to prove something. But ultimately I arrived at whether you do it or not, it doesn't really serve the purpose. Like, because I arrived at what I call destination happiness. I arrived at this place that I thought that I would get this, you know, uptick of happiness or uptick of, you know, it's, everyone says it like, okay, I'll simplify it. If you lose weight, when I get there, I will immediately be 100% happy in my life. There's going to be no problems.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work that way.
Like that.
And I think that's kind of something that I've always worked through just by experiences. Again, like knowing that I can't really prove anything to anyone but myself really was like a life-changing moment. And something
validation.
Exactly. But seeking validation is not something I do, if that makes sense. Like I don't really go online.
So you feel like you corrected that?
Yes.
Nice.
But I feel like, again, like validation, that's always, I always go back to that's external, right? So if you're validating me, it's just an external feeling.
Not necessarily.
But not necessarily.
Not
but
necessarily.
Like sometimes it's more of an external, like, oh, I like this about you, or oh, you look great, or oh, this, I love this about. For me, I always go back to who I am. I always stem right back. It just brings me right back to the core. And I think going back to what I do, I think I just get really good at becoming who I want to be, and writing that down, I think really helps. Journaling. Am I becoming the girl, or am I all talk? I always try to test myself. Like
make sure you're on
Make sure you're on. Are you just talking the talk? Are you
embodying it?
Exactly. Embodying it is the biggest thing.
I have to make sure I do that a lot too, because I speak so much of
You
how
speak
to
so
manifest,
well.
how to be confident,
Exactly.
how to be in your everyday life, that I am always thinking to myself, am I truly embodying this? And
Exactly.
when you're dating, it's even more interesting, because if you do one thing slightly off, the guy's like, oh, didn't you just do a video about this 2 weeks ago? And you're
Literally.
like, you watched that?
Totally. But
You
I've
clocked
had that with
It's
friends.
it's frustrating because you're like, wait, I'm a human being. I'm not a
human.
robot. I'm also not perfect by any means. But teach me, correct me.
But I think
I'm
that's-
open.
I think that's what you just said is like really what I love, because this whole perfectionism, right? I'm not perfect. Just because I'm confident doesn't mean I'm perfect. Just because I'm thin doesn't mean I'm equally happy. Or just because I have a husband doesn't mean everything's perfect. Like
Sure.
these things that are on other people's list that could really be a fulfilling life. Or if I have a kid, or as much as I love being a mom, it's like there's still stuff to do, and there's still other things. And I think the perfectionism, I had a friend, she goes, well, at the time, I guess I was being ungrateful about a gift I received. And she literally was like, well, I thought you were a grateful person, not a human. And I think that's the misconception about being positive and grateful. People just think I'm just, walking around like super positive, super confident at all times. And that's just such a misconception. I'm still a human being that experiences ups and downs just like everyone else. I just think the coping mechanism is just a little better in a sense of the resilience of getting back up faster.
That's what it is also to be spiritual. It's to understand. I always say to people, I'm not better or smarter than you because I'm spiritual. I just have the toolbox. Totally. I know how to move through things perhaps better than you, but that's only because I've done the work to understand the tools.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean I'm not going to experience the same things as you. I just know how to move it through it a little more gracefully.
100%.
That's it. That's it. It doesn't mean the same things aren't going to happen to me. It doesn't mean I'm not going to trip up and fall from time to time. I just know how to move through it.
Exactly. And that's the coping mechanism. And that's also like the coping. It's also the coping of grief. I think, everyone's always asking me, like, how are you doing with that? It's just time does not heal. Time just gives you more time to cope. That's how I feel about grief. It doesn't make it go away. It just builds more time for you to cope and get more examples of how to cope. And I think that's just interesting about life in general. I think you move through life and you get more wisdom, you get more experiences, you get the good with the bad. Not every experience is going to be good. I actually don't want them to be, because I learned so much more from the really bad experiences. I learned who I am as a person. I learned how much I can handle. I learned how to get back up. I learned all those things. And I think people are afraid to go through trauma or go through bad experience, bad breakups, bad things, because they don't know if they would make it. Whereas I'm telling that young girl, yes, you can.
The bottom is actually a great place to be because it breaks all illusions.
100%.
When you break all illusions, you break ego, and then you're able to rise a lot clearer, not just stronger, but a lot clearer. I think people forget that all illusions break at the bottom. And that's why when people say that's when I found God, but you can't find God just at those moments. It has to stay consistent so that when you do get there, you don't fall.
Exactly. But I think it's nice to have something. And I think that's another thing that I would say. You can pray. I've done prayers. I've done meditations, like all the things. I think that you ask me what I do every day. I think all the things. And especially on the days that I need it the most, I'll listen to something. I think looking at your social media and what you consume is so much a part of who I am. I don't really consume things that are going to make me...
I got rid of everything negative.
Yeah.
Everything.
Like,
some people say, don't you think it's ridiculous to not know what's going on and you're in a delusional world? I want to stay there.
I want to be in my bubble.
I want to stay there.
My bubble's cute.
I want to stay there because all this negativity is for clicks
100%.
And for comments and for
it's clickbait.
People just fighting one another. And what is the opposite of acting like God? God is not an old man in the sky with a white beard. God is energy.
It's energy.
And if God acts from compassion, love, kindness, non-judgment, and we're out here commenting negative things and acting ugly towards one another, that is the opposite of the light. And what does the world want in order for people to not be connected? To act like that.
Exactly. But it's really interesting to me that the most religious people sometimes are the most judgmental people. And I often find in the comments, I'll go and I'm like, this is not godlike. If you want to be godlike, walk the walk like God. If you're just, sitting there going to church or the temple or whatever your religious...
Well, you can start saying what I just said. To act like God is actually to act from non-judgment,
exactly,
love, compassion, and understanding, because God only acts like that.
Exactly.
God doesn't know the other way. And I think quite often people act as if... this is when you act like God. It's not, when I tell people to act like God, it's not to act above anyone. It's to act only the way God would. Yes. Because what is our goal? To always act like the creator.
Exactly.
Sure, we don't always all the time, but that should really be the goal.
It's
whether
the goal.
You're religious or not, is to understand to act like God is to act like a leader.
A leader, but also a good human. Like, I think just
lead with love, kindness, compassion, and if you fall, no big deal.
That. Yes.
Get back
get back.
Just get back.
But in social media, I think that that's lost as well, because a lot of people come alive on camera and they can be this person, and that's such a skill that they have. But for me, I'm exactly who I am off camera and on camera. And I really value that 100% because I feel like this is who I am and I'm not afraid of that. And I think that also breeds like insecurity, because if you're projecting someone online, but you're not physically that person in person, we've all seen it. And I think that's projecting an insecurity, because you want someone to perceive you as a certain way, even with luxury goods. I think there's a perception and there's a reality. And I think, do you buy these things? Because I love nice things. I love luxury. I'm never going to say I don't. But I'm buying them because I actually love them. I'm not buying them because I want Liz to look at me that I have a certain number in my bank account. I'm not looking to please other people. I'm looking because I'm going to wear this and I love it. And it makes me feel good. And it's something that I use my fashion sometimes. And I would say that to the 19-year-olds, use whatever tools you have, whether that's your personality, whether that's your fashion, your abilities, your sportsmanship, anything that's going on in your life. I use dance.
The strength.
Exactly.
And use your voice.
Use it. I always tell Sebastian, take up space. Like, take up space.
He's so delicious. I can't. He's so delicious. I can't with
and
the
he
hair
wrote a
and
book.
the eyes.
You're going to die.
Oh my gosh.
He wrote a book about God.
No, he didn't.
God. Yes. And I really want to talk about it because it's like something I have yet to talk about.
Wait, this is after the boat experience.
Yes.
You have to share this.
Yes. So we published it.
No freaking way.
Yes. And it's like, right now, it's going to be available like this week.
No way.
Yeah.
What an interesting timing.
It's interesting because he says exactly what you just said. God is energy.
No
He's
way.
like, I met God and he's energy and he's my friend. Literally. And so from a 7-year-old's
But explain
mouth,
the story, what happened on the cruise ship.
Oh,
In a
it's
tight
such a long
buttoned up.
way.
Keep
So
it like.
he went with a little cough and we took him to the doctor on a Tuesday. We were leaving for the vacation on a Friday. So he gets, the doctor said he just has a cough. Here's some cough medicine. And she's like, let me just check if he has pneumonia, or let's do an x-ray, which I thought was kind of weird. I'm like, okay, but like, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So let's do an x-ray. X-ray was clear. No, walking pneumonia is going around, but he doesn't have it. Great. Didn't think anything of it. He was still coughing, but he didn't have any other symptoms. We go on Friday. Everything was fine. We're having a great time. It was Saturday, Sunday, like everything was great up until it wasn't. And all of a sudden one night he's like, I don't feel good. And I'm looking at him like, what's wrong? And he felt a little warm. So he got like a temperature and I'm like, oh no, he got really sick. This is not good. So I give him some Tylenol, we go to sleep. The next day he wakes up and he's like, I have a really bad headache. Now, Sebastian doesn't get headaches and I'm a migraine sufferer. So I know headaches and they're really scary, but I know for my son that he never gets headaches. So I immediately took him to the doctor on the boat and the doctor was like, he seems fine. Like everything seems fine. He's passing all the tests. He doesn't even have a fever. Like everything's fine. Go let him rest. We go to let him rest. He falls asleep for a good 3-hour nap. Now he's 6. He does not nap. I immediately, I couldn't eat. I'm pacing the room. I'm like, what do I do? We're docked in Turks and Caicos. But if you look outside, it's very dark and it's just like a lousy day. And I had this feeling and it's like a gut feeling of all gut feelings. And I just something's not
Mother's
right.
instinct for sure.
So he wakes up. I'm like, do you still have a headache? Yes, I do. I literally run him down the emergency, down where the medical center is. I'm like, listen, something's wrong. I don't know exactly what it is, but this child has never had a headache. Something's not right. He's like, listen, we could take tests, we could do things, but I think we should wait until the morning. He doesn't seem, he took all these like tests or whatever they do. He seems fine. Okay, just go back to your room, everything. Okay, so we watch movies, we're laying down, we're resting. And I asked him before he went to sleep, where's your pain? He's like, oh, it's about a 2. And I was like, oh, perfect. It's going away. Maybe you just had a headache, maybe whatever. that night, I wake up at 3:30 in the morning, just as a mother's instinct, and I find him. I've never spoken about this on anything online, but I find him with his eyes open and just still, like not moving, still. And I flick the lights on because it's 3:30 in the morning and it's pitch black. And I go, something's wrong with Sebastian, like screaming at my husband. And my husband's like moving him and trying to, and there's nothing. And you have to understand, the mind just goes to the worst. But also, if anyone in my position, if you're looking at a child that's still, you're not thinking thoughts of alive, okay? You're not.
Nope.
You're thinking he passed. And then again, from my trauma with my brother, I know that things can happen like this. So I'm going like, what's going on? Like I get up, I call 911 because the 911 gets to the medical center. And I'm like, bring a defibrillator. I don't even know what that exactly is.
You're just channeling.
But that's like, yes. So I go, bring a defibrillator. He's not breathing. We need to get him to breathe. Like, bring it now.
That was God. So I have chills all up. Like,
literally.
That was God telling you exactly what to do.
So
I really believe that to be true.
I really believe. So I looked out because I couldn't physically look at him. So I looked out and there was pitch black. Like it's 3:30 in the morning. Pitch black. You cannot see anything. And I'm like, did I just lose my kid on a boat? Like I literally just said this out loud. And my husband's like, thank God. My husband's grabbing him and I went to turn around and all I see is his head like this, like Sebastian's head. And I'm freaking out because this like visual is so traumatizing. And if anyone has gone through this, it's so traumatizing. He ended up having a seizure. We did not know that because it's not the trembling seizure. It's not the one that you're convulsing. It's a still, his body.
I've never even heard of that. The first time you told me that, I've never heard of that.
I would have never known about it either. And it's a different type of seizure. So my husband noticed that there was drool coming down his face. And he's like, I think he's alive. And he's trying to unclench his jaw and it was clenched. So anytime you have a seizure, your body locks. So it's like he was, very tense and locked. So they came very quickly. I'm screaming like I've never screamed in my life, crying like everything. We're in pajamas, mind you. So I'm undressing, going into my normal, trying to get sweatpants on or something to go into the medical center. But I now know why parents should never see, that, because it's kind of that moment where they like strip the clothes and the pajamas get cut and I can like visually see it all. And they put him on they see that he's alive, but he did not wake up. And it took no one understands the story and I really have not shared it, but it took about like 2 hours for him to wake up. And during this time, what was going on, because everyone asked me that, there was a lot. Everyone's coming up to me, and I think you would love this part. Everyone's coming up to me and they're touching me and they're like, I'm so sorry. Like everyone was acting as if he passed. Rightfully so, because no one had an idea what was going on. I was like, don't touch me. And the woman, like, she was like, what do you mean, don't touch you? And I go, touch is really powerful. And I don't want that energy on me because I need to go touch him. And I need to gather my energy to go and touch my son. I turn around, and this is such a thing in my life that I'll never forget. And I was like, gather your energy. He's alive. I see his heart. He's alive. You just need to wake him up. I went to his bedside after I gathered my energy. I was like touching him and doing my thing, the spirituality. Again, this is why I will say to everyone, be very spiritual, because if I had not had that experience in my life, I don't know if I would be this strong in this moment. I go to touch him and I start singing, which is very odd, a song from when he was a child. I start singing a lullaby. I haven't sang that since he was a baby. I'm singing and singing and singing. And they open his eyes, nothing. They open his eyes, nothing. And they're putting his anti-seizure medication into his veins. So he flinched. And I was like, he flinched. It was like such a big moment for me. And at one point, and only one point, he opened his eyes. Where's mama? And he points at me. And in that moment, I just knew he would be okay. I don't know why. There was no evidence that he would be okay, but I just knew he knew who I was. So that there was like brain activity and he wasn't, because that's the thing. Like, is the brain okay?
Right.
Like, does he even know who I am? But I just sat with my touch and I just sat and I waited and I waited. And he would wake up and he would go back to sleep. And he would wake up and he would like look around like very confused and dazed. And like it was like he wasn't conscious, let's just say. And now in his book, he writes about how he went to this place during the time of getting up and how God told him, wake up. And then he would go right back to sleep. And that literally happened. So when he told me this story of this book, I knew it was real just because I was there witnessing him wake up and go back to sleep. He saw my brother. He saw my husband's sister who passed from cancer. And he was describing, and it's in the book, that he describes it as a cloud. And he was going up the clouds and they were with him. And my dog was there as well. She had passed. And
not the dog.
My brother was petting the dog and saying, go back to your mom. And he describes in the book, God was saying to go back, go back, go back. And so he would wake up and then go back to sleep. So the hours have passed. Now we're docking at, this is a long story, but like we're docking at Dominican Republic. We have to get off the boat. So I have to get our stuff out of this room. Now it's an 8-day trip.
Yeah.
I have my luxury items. I have everything in this closet. I have everything. And I went back to the room to try to gather my things when I knew like he was stable. I mean, I don't even know if that was the case, but I just had to go back to the room because they told me. I think the worst part, and I think that something I really describe is touching Sebastian's clothes and not knowing if he was coming back with me sent me in a tailspin that I can't, like the trauma of that, like I literally touched the clothes and that's such a weird thing how I feel touch is so important. So I touched the clothes and I'm like, I can't do this. And the butler that was helping me gather everything, he was just bawling because he saw how distraught I was over clothing, but it's this energy in the clothes. Like I was putting these clothes in this luggage, not knowing if I was going to go with my child or just. And now I think about all the parents that have this experience and didn't go home with their child. Like that is just gathering things is just such a hard thing for a parent to do. And I just didn't realize it until that moment. So I stopped doing it. I made my husband do it because I physically couldn't do it. My physicality, like I just couldn't do it.
No.
So we get off, he goes into the ICU and we spend 5 days in the hospital, not knowing if he was going to be okay. And that's a long story, but they took every test underneath the moon, meningitis, everything. He ended up having the walking pneumonia. And he was just, on a scale of 1 to 10, he was on a 10 of everything going wrong. Like the vomiting, we didn't know if he was waking up. Like it was just, this kid was in so much pain with the headache. And every time he would wake up, like even for Christmas, because we spent Christmas in a hospital, in the ICU actually. But at Christmas Eve, when he was kind of like coherent, I turned to my husband and I said, we are going to have Christmas. I do not care where we are. This is happening. Get the book out. The night before Christmas is a tradition that we read. I was like, get the book out. And I have videos. And we're in a hospital bed reading the night before Christmas to a child that's like, barely there.
But he still felt it.
And we had Christmas the next day, but he was, in and out. It was really hard to watch. But I feel like if you asked him today, he tells me that his favorite Christmas was that one. Stop. And I was like, why would a hospital bed be your favorite Christmas? And he said, because we were all together. And so the lesson in all of this is the togetherness and the love. And that's why I think my life has changed since that experience. I don't really leave him as much. And I know a lot of, yeah. And
you're making me want to get up and just drive to Jordan's school.
God, no.
Be like, I'm done for the day. Bye, everyone.
No, it's like, I don't want other moms to feel.
No, but it's true, It's and to just know he was between the physical and the spiritual. Yes. And But
I think it's such again, like this is, I always ask what's the purpose of this? Like, again, what we were talking about before, like, I didn't need another lesson, God. Like, I didn't need this in my life. I already had my brother. I already had loss. I already had
enough. Yeah.
It's enough. Like, I was actually in a very state of, why is this happening? Like, this is not the type of mother I am. I'm so, overboard when it comes to certain things because he already has food allergies. So we were so prepared for that and so prepared for other things. But this took us from like by surprise. And I think
I can't wait to squeeze on this little chicken.
So now I just feel like it's a gift every day. And I really feel like just, again, when I said we're honoring my brother and we're living life and we are just living life. That's where I am right now. And that's the era of life I am right now. I'm working as much as I've ever worked in my life. So I feel grateful for that. My business is thriving.
Thank God.
But I think it's thriving because of my energy of contentment. And I'm content, but I would love more. But if you're not content first, I think you cannot get more. I think you have to be really grateful for what you have to receive more. And I think I'm super content with what I have, but I always obviously strive for more. And right now we're just living in that space of just gratitude for him being here, gratitude for
shifts everything.
And it does shift everything. And I think I share the story because I really want other moms to like know, because I think sometimes you just don't think a little cough could just, this was insane.
I hope I'm actually going to ask my editing team to cut that specifically, and I hope it goes viral so that other moms listen to their intuition, because you know more than a doctor your child.
Oh, 100%.
You know your child way better than you know your body. You know your child
100%
better than any doctor ever will.
But I've always had that. And that's what I think that we didn't touch on is I've always had this weird intuition. So I had spinal meningitis when I was 7 months old, and I'm the only survivor.
I've never even heard of that.
Yes, it's a deadly disease.
What?
My mom took me to a hospital to go visit my cousin that was born. My mom didn't have nannies. I mean, you're talking an old school Italian mother. She's a stay-at-home mom, so she just took me.
Yeah.
She had 2 other kids at home, and I was the 7-month-old baby that she just took to the hospital with her. I contracted.
Was it like a follow-up appointment? Why'd she even go?
Because someone had a baby. One of our, my cousin was born.
Got it.
And so she took me, and I got this disease. And there was 11 babies. This is why 11 is so important in my life. And Sebastian was born on the 11th. The 11th is like angel numbers for me. And I've always believed that. But there was 11 babies, and I'm the only survivor. And they told my mom that if she survives, she will not have her hearing, and she will be slow in her.
This is a repeated pattern in the family.
Yeah, isn't it weird?
I wanted, I wish there was some sort of astrologist or a reader or someone past life, reader.
Totally.
I'm going to find one for you. There's something there.
Right?
Why this is a repeated pattern.
My mom goes, you have 9 lives. Literally. She's crazy. Like, you are just one of those
There's
people.
Something there. Maybe in a past life, I had a psychic tell me that, she's like, did you die, or almost die during your baby during childbirth? I said, no. But I blacked out, forgetting that I actually did almost die. I had 30 doctors rush in.
There you
and
go.
Claude looked at me, and he started crying. I've seen my ex-husband cry twice in over a decade. Yeah. And I blacked it out.
Wow.
And she said to me, in a past life, you died from giving birth, and this lifetime you passed that karma.
Literally,
I remember saying to Claude, I was like, why the hell didn't I remember? I almost freaking died during childbirth. Yeah. And I blacked it out. And then she goes, oh, you must have passed that karma in this lifetime. So you've passed, there's some karma that's being, I don't know, 100%. It's very interesting.
It's very interesting. But I've always had this intuition. I call it my sixth sense. It's very, very strong. I can feel, it's interesting because even if someone's pregnant around me, I immediately feel the baby. And I can say you're pregnant, and someone's like, I didn't even tell anyone. I've done that numerous times. It's really odd, but it's also I feel energy, and I feel especially a baby's energy. It's just interesting to me. So I definitely feel like an intuition is always something I rely on. And especially in this moment, it saved my child.
Do you see me having another child?
Do I see you having another child?
Yeah.
I can't see.
Okay.
But if you were pregnant right now, I could feel the baby.
Got it. Interesting.
And it could be the very early stages.
So you pick up the energetic soul, the physical energy.
Recently, someone I just ran into, and I'm like, oh, I feel a baby in the room. She hadn't announced.
No way.
And then she just announced the other day.
That's
and this
crazy.
is not someone that's super close to me. It was just at an event. I just saw her, and I was like, I feel a baby in the room. Is someone pregnant? But I definitely feel this strong pull towards energy. again, energy is just everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's God, it's us, it's within you. And I think when you're that type of person, you can feel it really easily.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
What's next for Lisa D?
I think the sky's the limit. I think there's so much I want to accomplish, and I know I can do it. I just have to focus. I have my own brand. I launched it a few years ago. We sold out. I fully funded it myself, which was a lesson. It's a lot, guys.
Yeah.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
So I think I obviously want to give it love, and I want to go back to having my own brand and doing that. But I do feel like I kind of shifted the energy of away from influencing. And then I had this moment when everything sold out, and I was like, but the one thing that funded this, you're like neglecting. It's like the neglected child. So I went back, right? So I went back, and now I'm just full force into being an influencer because I feel that it needs focus. And that's what I'm doing currently. Right now, I'm just focused. I'm focused on working with brands I love. I'm focused on being an influencer, and I'm focused on all of that while still building my little empire on the side.
Where can we find you?
Lisa D NYC. At Lisa D NYC on everything. TikTok,
Instagram,
yes.
YouTube.
I'm not on YouTube.
Me either.
Yes.
I do. I put the podcast clips up there.
This. And you can find me on Liz's podcast.
Yeah. You're the best.
My girl.
Besides of crying at 9:30 in the morning,
oh my God,
and I'm rushing to
I
Jordan's
cried.
school.
The fact that I didn't cry because I'm watching you and I'm looking down at Lysol as I'm like, don't cry, don't cry.
No, you're the best. Thanks for having us. And I hope whoever is listening to this is inspired by you, because I know they will be.
Thank you. And you too.
This was
good
fun.
Energy.
Thanks, Keaton.
We should do this more often.
We should. We do this at my house all the time. We all sit on the floor.
Let's just do it.
I told you, come over and just come chill.
Okay, I'm going to bring my child.
Please. They can sit in another room, play Legos, whatever.
Because, again, I want to end with, you know you're a good human when you walk away from someone. Why? Is because you don't question anything about you. You actually feel inspired and you're like, wow, I feel good. Why? Is because the person gave you something to feel good about, because it's less about the person, right? Because it's ego. If you thought about the person, it's not about me. But I always think if someone walks away from me, I want them to feel better, not worse. Yes. So that energy is always what I leave people with. So if you feel good after talking to me, I feel like I've done my part as a human.
And if you feel better after leaving someone, that's a sign. Clock yourself how you feel.
Clock how you feel when you leave people, girls.
Yes,
clock.
Yes.
Because that's a strong indication about how that person is, especially if you start questioning what you look like, what you're feeling like, I'm like, why do I feel weird? It's less about you and it's more about the person.
People can lie, but energy never lies. What a great way to wrap everything up.
Energy, baby.
Go follow Lisa on Instagram and TikTok and show her love.
You will have fun, guys.
Show her some love.
Show me love. Come dance.
Come dance.